Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino here again with another episode of Deep Listens, and today we are going deep into Kingdom Hearts, specifically Kingdom Hearts 3, the third one. I had to know if this game was any good. I had to know the madness of this game, and so I picked it. And joining me, as always, to discuss all things Kyrie, Pete Busby. Hello, Pete.
Proletarians of all species unite. This is a moment of direct action that is upon us. This week's fun fact is about killer whales.
Again?
Have you guys heard about this?
I
have heard of this. I thought they were orcas. I don't know if that's different from killer whales.
I think it's the same
It's
thing.
just two words for the same thing.
Yeah,
Fair
pretty
enough.
much. I think like the scientifically appropriate term is orcas, but when they're doing badass stuff like this, you can call them killer whales. So, Gino, to inform you, killer whales off the Iberian coast of Europe, so sort of off the coast of Spain, primarily, are sinking yachts.
What?
Yep. There's 3 of them. It's basically a troop led by White Gladys. That is her official name. And 2 smaller orcas sinking yachts. Apparently, White Gladys rams the side of them, and the 2 smaller ones bite off the rudders.
What?
Yeah. So it sounds like some very strong anti-capitalist direct action. I will say scientists think it might be caused by some sort of trauma in White Gladys's past. Maybe she was caught in a net or hit by a boat, which is sad, but I'm glad to see she's channeling that rage appropriately.
She's assembled a gang. This is someone needs to make a movie about orcas doing a caper.
I mean, they are very, very smart. This is also a case of orca fads. It happened in the past that orcas sort of like have these fads that they jump on for a little while and then stop doing. So another one was they all started wearing dead salmon as hats for like 2 summers, and then they just quit. They were like, never mind. So hopefully they keep sinking yachts. Apparently, though, Jeff Bezos' boat, too big. Orcas would not be able to sink it.
Oh, man.
I think we just don't have enough orcas.
Yes, the orcas need to
We just need to throw more orcas at the problem.
We need the Ocean's 13 of orcas to take down that boat. Boy, I want a movie where it's just escalating, sinking of yachts to take fish or some shit out of them. Right?
No, it's revenge.
I mean, it's definitely
better than that.
That's also great if it was revenge. But yeah, that's impressive. Great way to go, White Gladys.
Nature hates capitalism, as we all knew.
Famously. All right. That other voice you heard is M. Palladino. Hello, M. Mistress of Games.
Thank you for my full title. We're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts today. So I've failed to prepare a drink, but we might be splitting this up into 2 episodes because I'm going to have to lore dump. And you bet I'll have a drink for that one.
Yes. So we will... I'll give that warning when we get to the main segment of the show. But yeah, that is some good foreshadowing. So before we get to the Kingdom Hearts of it all, a reminder you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. That's our comment section. And deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. Please do get your emails in. Our 200th episode is rapidly approaching, and we are looking forward to hearing from y'all, answering questions, getting any sort of feedback, any sort of comments on the last several years of Deep Listens. So if you can, please do. We also have our Patreon, patreon.com/deeplistens. If you join it, you get access to our Discord. You can, submit games for the Off the Deep End Slush Pile. We are still very close to having to play Sonic 06. So please do support if you can. M, what's going on in the Discord for the Discord report?
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. This week on the Discord, there is some basketball going on, like right now.
Yeah, hoops.
Currently, at this very moment, perhaps. I mean, not when you hear this, dear listener, but when we record this, is it going to be a big deal?
Could be.
Could be. It's right
So
now. Yeah, go ahead, Pete. Give the stakes.
If the Boston Celtics win Game 7, which is happening at this moment, they will be the first team in 150 tries to ever come back from an 0-3 hole in the NBA playoffs. And more importantly, it'll make Jimmy Butler super sad, which is always a plus.
Yep. But, I mean, it's truly a hater's ball moment because either the Heat with their hashtag Heat culture, which is mostly like you're only allowed to have 2% body fat and like military discipline style stuff happening. Either they lose, the first team to ever lose a lead this big, which would be hilarious, or the Celtics manage to lose at home in Game 7 after coming back. Both are entertaining. For my purposes, I would prefer the Heat win, but we shall see. And also going on in the Discord, one of our patrons is currently in Japan. They've been posting some fun video log or photo log.
In a very scary-looking hotel.
Yes, a very scary hotel.
It looks comfy. I don't know.
And some very nice cheap games as well, getting found in small used game stores. So yeah, that's what's been going on. There's been sumo stuff happening as well, but Discord going well.
We might have a sumo show.
We might. We'll see. And
do you know one small sumo fact? I'm doing a little independent sumo research because of the new show on Netflix. Do you know there are no weight classes in sumo?
Yes.
You be 200 pounds or 600 pounds. You're wrestling.
So is it just get as big as you can and
pretty much
you'll probably win?
Well, I mean, as in a lot of sports where size is relevant, there are trade-offs for being gigundous.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility is important. Getting leverage on people is important.
Stamina, not so much in sumo, though. The bout's very fast.
Yeah, if you win, the bouts can be slower, but
that's true.
There are sometimes very fast bouts if the initial slam is strong enough. But yeah, so related to my obsession of the week is related to the playoffs. As Em mentioned, the Heat and the Celtics are currently battling it out to see who will be in the finals. But the team that is currently in the finals, and that is a guarantee, is the Denver Nuggets, who, if you listened to our introductory NBA podcast at the beginning of the season, you would have known that the Nuggets were going to be in the finals because all three of Pete, myself, and ZP picked them as the finals representative from the Western Conference.
First time ever that the Nuggets have made it.
Yep, first time ever that the Nuggets have made it, and we nailed it. We nailed one of our picks. We didn't get the Bucks. They got eliminated in the first round because their best player hurt his back. But we got it. We got half of them. I was the only person who had the Nuggets winning the title, though. ZP and Pete each had the Bucks winning the title. So my pick is live. The Denver Nuggets are in the finals. I'm super excited. They've had basically 2 weeks off waiting for the winner of Miami-Boston because these two teams just will not finish their bout with each other. So it'll be interesting to see. I go Nuggets. I hope that they win. They've got the best player in the world still, even though he didn't win the MVP. Nikola Jokic still the best player in the world. And some of his interviews, I feel like you would get a real kick out of.
What? Me?
Yeah, because he's hyper literal a lot of the time. So he'll take the questions. Like they asked him, so since you've become a father, have you felt that has helped you at all with your game? And he said, no, this cannot help you. Being a father, it has nothing to do with basketball. So he's just like, yeah, but I always knew that basketball wasn't the most important thing in my life. Like my family is, and this is just further validation that I was right the whole time.
There's also a weird subgenre of Jokic sports stories about how often he gets scratched.
Yes.
So Jokic as a player ends up with these large fleshy wounds all over his arms, and people like to speculate as to why.
Someone asked his childhood coach if this has always been the case. And his childhood coach said yes. He's been scratched all his life, and when asked why, he said, "I believe that Nicola has weak skin."
Savage.
Which is great. He also has a lot of great interviews. Like they asked him, "What are you going to do after you won the Western Conference Finals?" And he said, "I'm going to go back to the hotel and watch my friend race horses," because his friend was in a horse race that day, and he said he was going to sit in the pool. That was it. And they asked him, "So how do you feel after winning the Western Conference Finals?" And he was like, "Honestly, I thought I would feel more."
Huh.
I didn't, I thought I would feel more emotion, but I didn't. I'm just expecting one of these questions to be like, "So Nicola, how do you feel now that you won a title? Is this the happiest you've ever been?" And I just expect him to go, "True happiness comes from within. You cannot validate yourself based on external stimulus." At some point.
I have felt nothing this entire time.
Yep.
I scratch myself to feel alive. I'm like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. So look up some Jokic interviews; they're good.
Okay, I'll check it out.
What a large, weird man. Yeah. So with that, let's turn our attention now to Kingdom Hearts 3, the third Kingdom Hearts game. The third one.
Hold on.
Look, you play 1, then 2, then 3, and then you understand what's going on implicitly. That checks out. So, Em, why don't you set the table?
Oh, Jesus.
What is Kingdom Hearts 3?
Where should we start?
In 1986.
Yeah.
Tron.
So, Kingdom Hearts started in 2002 with the Kingdom Hearts game. This is from 2019, Kingdom Hearts 3, where we are following Sora Kingdom Hearts as he is going to Disney World and...
He's going to Disney World?
He's going to Disney World. Yeah. And he's going to collect 7 Guardians of Light because he needs to fight 13 Darknesses.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. You followed all that, right?
Yeah, of course. You need 7 to defeat 13. Yeah, of course.
7 and 13, and that's how you end the Darkseeker saga, because there's a guy, his name is Xehanort, he's bald, he's an old man, he wants to get Kingdom Hearts, which is a thing, it's a moon in the sky, and there's a world behind it.
So, let me just stop you there. That's enough, because today we're going to split this show into 2 parts. This is going to be part 1. Today we're going to focus mostly on the gameplay and the Disney part of this, the part where you don't need to know the deep lore. And then
I'm throwing my notes away. All of these posted cards I have are useless.
One question, Em. One question before you throw it away, and then I promise no more lore.
Okay.
When you said Oldman, were you just pronouncing old man in a strange way, or is that a Kingdom Hearts term I should know?
Could be both.
Oh, God.
Oh, you mean the Oldman, of course.
Yes, the ancient race.
The ancient beings, the Oldman.
I'll say not that I know of, but
okay.
Who knows?
No one does. That's the problem. Okay, so this will be part 1. Part 2, which will be up next, Deep Listen's scheduled time, will be the lore and the deep dive, and the back half of, I would say the back third of the game, or fourth of the game. So let's zoom in on the easiest stuff to explain. So the game, it starts, you've got Sora, you've got Donald, you've got Goofy. These are an anime boy, and then Donald and Goofy from Disney.
You know that.
You know them.
One's a duck. The
one's
other's
a duck, and
dog?
one's a silly dog.
But not Pluto. Pluto is an actual dog.
Yes, there are funny dogs, and there are dogs.
Yes.
Yes. So you are trying to save. The game starts with Sora at Olympus. Well, no, it doesn't. It starts slightly before that, right? Like you get in the gummy ship.
Starts with a chess match.
Right, it does start with a chess match.
We don't have to talk about that.
We don't have to talk about the
We're
chess
gonna
match.
talk about that next time.
Intergalactic chess.
So
There's
Sora
some
says,
cutscenes. We're gonna ignore all the cutscenes. Throw
Yes.
them in the
That's like
garbage.
the first 20 minutes of the game.
Sora says he needs to get the power of waking, whatever that means. So he
The
hops in
power
his
of waking.
he
is
hops in
not
his
important.
gummy ship, which is the ship from Kingdom Hearts, and he
Yes.
flies to Olympus, where Hercules is hanging out. And
Hercules is there. You're gonna fight
We're
some
caught up.
titans.
yes, and it's the plot of Hercules, the first movie, basically.
You remember Hercules from 1999, I think?
Yes.
Great movie. It's sort of like a reboot, though.
Even in Kingdom
'Cause-
Hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megra is fine. You don't have to save her. So, like, Hades has brought the Titans back. It failed completely the first time, but he's just like, run it back. We got it this time.
One more
Yes.
time.
I love that he's like, Cloud couldn't get it done. Auron couldn't get it done. What I need is the Titans again. Now we need the Titans. This time it's going to
Yep.
work out, y'all. So James Woods shows up. He says that he's going to summon the Titans. Sora, Donald, and Goofy are going to help Hercules of Hercules fame defeat the Titans. You will notice pretty quickly that the actual combat is significantly different than it was in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 in some key ways. You still have the like triangle to do actions stuff, which happened in other games, but now there's a lot more context sensitive buttons. Before, triangle used to be purely like, in game 1 it was purely context sensitive stuff. 2, it expanded a little bit more to like special abilities here and there. In 3, now, what would you describe the triangle button as? The cool shit button?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the QuickTime button. Like,
Mhm. Sometimes it summons a train.
or a Disney ride.
There are Disney rides you can do.
merry-go-round.
Yeah. So, like, as you do combos, you can unlock combo abilities with your guest characters, or Donald and Goofy. If you attack certain enemies who have, like, a green circle around them, you get the ability to summon Disney rides, like the teacups, or the...
Pirate ship,
Pirate
merry-go-round. You know, well-known combat efficacy
Yes.
ability.
Yeah, the water... What is the log flumes? It's not a log
Splash
flume.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You summon Splash Mountain and kill them.
Which,
with
like, I
Splash
guess if
Mountain.
you dropped that on, like, a Heartless, like, sure. Like, Splash
Sure.
Mountain's probably 1 billion pounds.
It would really hurt to get hit by Splash Mountain. And that happens. You also get team up attacks with like Hercules. You can spin around with Hercules and then you do a special move. They got rid of the special Keyblade modes that you had in Kingdom Hearts 2. You had like an
Mhm.
attack mode where you had 2 Keyblades, or a magic mode where you flew around and could do like ranged attacks.
Yeah,
in
but
this,
They kind
they
of.
kept Shadow Sora.
Yeah.
they kept Shadow Sora.
Sometimes.
And they also kept there's a Keyblade mode. Now the Keyblades themselves have
Mhm.
special modes where if you combo enough, you can press triangle and you will enter the like special Keyblade modes for each Keyblade. So like and what is the Kingdom Key, the like default Keyblade, do when you hit triangle on it?
Oh shit. What does it do?
It's called second
didn't-
form.
I didn't use it very long. Second form does.
It's just kind of like the special modes from the first game.
Oh.
From the second game. It's a
Yeah.
little bit like that. Like you get some extra combos, you do some magical stuff, and then you end it with at any point you can hit triangle to do a finisher, which does like a powerful attack.
Mhm.
Like it's unremarkable, but as you
It's
get
your
more
basic stuff.
as you get more Keyblades, they get more specialized. So like you get a Hercules Keyblade that it turns into a shield, and you can use it to block and do counterattack stuff. And then its special move is you summon a Pegasus and then fly around shooting lightning at people. You get a Keyblade that turns into guns, and then a rocket launcher. Yeah. So what did y'all think of that mechanic?
Well, before we even get to that mechanic, I was curious about the decision to incorporate Disney rides into combat.
Yeah.
I mean, even setting aside, you know, why are
it's
these
weird.
teacups being used in combat?
Yeah.
Like, do the Disney rides have the sort of like cultural cachet that like Donald and Goofy has, such that they needed to be shoehorned in this way. Like, what
Absolutely
Kingdom
not.
Hearts fan was like, if we don't get the teacups in Kingdom Hearts 3, I swear to God, I'm going to lose it.
I don't think anyone wanted these. I think it was one of those things that they were like, ooh, we're going to add this in. And everyone's like, okay, but how are the Disney
Whatever.
worlds? And they're like, there's not that many.
It's not like, it's not
But
even
teacups,
IP.
though.
It's
Yeah.
not as if there's an extended Splash Mountain universe that they had to like incorporate somehow.
I mean, give it some time. We could probably.
You're right. You're
we
right.
could probably franchise that.
I mean, they already franchised the Steamboat Ride. They franchised the Haunted Mansion. So this would not be unprecedented for them to franchise a random ride that has just been at Disney World for a while.
Mhm.
Man, I would love to see a Teacups movie. I don't know what it would be.
It's a Fast and the Furious, except you're just spinning in teacups.
Yeah. What was your favorite of the ride attacks?
Pirate
And
ship.
they're all so dumb. I guess the pirate ship.
Pirate ship is probably the one I use the most. Also, these happen like all the time in combat.
Yeah.
Like
Constant. Like, it's just constant fireworks exploding across
Yeah.
the screen.
the
And
blaster blaze is the Buzz Lightyear themed one. That
Is that
also,
the one that like goes first person shooter for a little while?
yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
That one was
So-
okay. At
If you
least it was different.
like feel like that, I guess. Big Magic Mountain, the train is the cool one that they showed in all the trailers for this game, and then you do it like twice, one in the beginning, one in the end.
I mean, the 2 times you do it, it's sick.
Yeah, it's really sick, but also there's like 40 hours of gameplay in between them.
It's mostly teacups in between.
Yeah.
But I mean, I found that I like the teacups when there were a lot of ground-bound enemies. I
Mhm.
think the
Spin
pirate
to
ship
win.
was most efficacious because it hit everything and it juggles enemies. Like once you hit someone swinging back, it knocks them to the front. So when you swing forward, you hit them again. So like once you pick someone up, they're in Pain Town until the ride ends. I hated the merry-go-round because it's a rhythm game. And sometimes the enemies were not near the merry-go-round, so they wouldn't get caught in the merry-go-round blasts. Which, what a fun sentence to say. You know what? Just for those sentences that I got to say, this was worth it. And I found that it was pretty cool. When you would hit triangle with these, you were largely invincible. So, like, for me, it was almost always I need to be invincible right now. Let me hit the triangle button.
How much would you say? You can give it to me in a percentage, I guess, or a scale of 1 to 5. You'd like to scale it. How often did you find yourself considering strategy when involved in a Kingdom Hearts battle?
You do not have to.
What difficulty were we
10%.
playing on? I was playing on normal, so never.
Yeah, I was on normal too, and I pretty much just hit buttons.
Everyone gives you shit for playing on normal in the Kingdom Hearts games, I find. But playing on proud mode is
Is that what they call
pointless.
it?
There's proud mode, and then there's also critical mode. I think you only can unlock critical after playing the game one time, but I cannot confirm that. There's no reason to do it, and most of the guides that you'll find online are like, hit thing with Keyblade to
Good
lower health bar.
Good tip.
Yeah, you don't need to strategize at all.
I was thinking about the Keyblades too while I was playing the game. Like, obviously, there are a whole bunch of like in-game reasons for like Keyblades, like, you know, locks and keys to your heart or whatever dumb nonsense. But I was wondering, do you think they chose Keyblades in the first place because they were like, we can't give Mickey a sword?
Yes.
Like, if Mickey has something that can draw blood,
Yeah.
there's
I
going
think
to be an
that's
issue.
I think that's canonical in
Is it?
like development. They were like, we need a blunt weapon because we want this to be kid friendly.
And
So they were like, what if it was a baseball bat size key.
But you're always swinging with the blunt side.
Yeah. Yep.
So this was like, oh man, I can't believe I forgot. What's the game we played where they had to make them like weird vampires instead of ninjas? It was a super famous game from like when the Mortal Kombat, like all the game controversy.
That was
shit,
what was
Night
it
Trap.
called?
Night Trap.
Night Trap.
Yep.
Yeah, where they were like, look, if we can't make this anything kids can imitate, so now they're weird vampires with these like
They're
lasso
weird
things.
Vampires in gimp outfits, because that's way
Right.
more wholesome than
Right.
if they were terrible.
It's basically the same thing.
If they
So
were
like, look, if we
criminals.
make it a giant key, where are these kids going to find a 3-foot key? They're not going to. It's fine.
I mean, and then they made like cosplay versions of the Keyblade that you can hit your friends with. So
Perfect.
Yep. Yeah. So
much for that.
Yeah, you don't really need to think about strategy all that much. So I guess back to my thing. Speaking of Keyblades, which of the Keyblades did you enjoy playing as? Because each of them had a different transformation mode. Other than that, they were just like stat differences. So they weren't. The differences were mostly in the transformations. In the first game, it was like length was the difference. In the second game, there were mostly stat differences, and in the third game, it's these transformations. What was y'all's go-to?
I
Trying
just
to find
picked
the name.
I picked the Keyblade that just hit the hardest. So I was focused on whatever the like strongest combat strength Keyblade I had at the time. That was the one I used.
These pictures are so small. Which is the one that looks like a car key?
That's Riku's key. I
Is
didn't know
it?
that you could use that one.
No.
Or is it the one
I
that
was
looks like
going-
a USB drive?
I was
From
going to reference that one, but I cannot find it because you can't play with that one.
that one's pretty
I-
good though. It does look like a
It's-
car key, which is very
yeah.
funny.
I wanted that one, but you cannot play with that one. There is which game is this? This is the first game. That's why it's not the ones I'm looking for. God, this list is so fucking long.
While you're looking, I'll say you can switch between 3 Keyblades. My favorite was the one from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's
good.
End.
yes,
Looks like
that
a
was
mask.
the one.
It turns into a spear called the High Wind, which is a reference to almost every Cid in Final Fantasy games. They almost always use spears, and they almost always are last name High Wind. So I like that one because it was a reference, and it hit really hard.
Mhm.
And then its final form is it turned into a flag, and then you just like did baton twirling to kill people, which was pretty cool. And then you summoned Kraken tentacles, which was also cool. Yeah,
This
that was
one-
my go-to. That was my favorite.
This one is called the Nano Gear, which is the keychain you get from San Francisco, which looks
Big
like
Hero 6.
it's a Big Hero 6 world. It looks like a what are those things called? Nanobots at the end of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably the last one that I got, so that was what I had in all the cutscenes at the end. But Wheel of Fate is the one from Caribbean. The looks like a pirate ship. And that one's cool too.
I like the Nanobots one because when you use the Nanobots one, it transforms into a weapon. Like its transformation form is a bunch of transformation forms. Like it uses the animations from a bunch of other Keyblades and combines them all. And then its final attack is shooting a giant rocket hand, which is pretty great.
Yep. Always fun.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So Pete, your favorite Keyblade was also the Pirates of the Caribbean one?
Yeah, yeah.
Very
Like I
hard.
said, I just picked whatever hit the hardest.
Hmm.
I'm not really a big magic person when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. I find it's more trouble than it's worth most of the time.
Yeah,
You don't like
especially-
scrolling through all those menus to
I mean, I love menus. Don't get me wrong. You know,
who doesn't?
At least they let you set hotkeys.
Yeah.
Which is helpful, but also if you need to set hotkeys, it probably means your first option isn't very good. And yeah, summoning magic is still tough. Navigating to cure I found to be tedious if I use the menus. Yeah, so like you get into Hercules World. That's the first level. You defeat the Titans again. Oh, I guess another thing that's an important mechanical difference is you could just jump or like stay in the air forever now.
Yeah, you could hover. It's fine. I mean, you've gotten the ability to fly like 4 times at this point in the course of the Kingdom Hearts series, so at least you start with it here.
You can't glide at the beginning of the game. And at the beginning, you can just like if you have something targeted and it's in the air and you just keep spamming the X button, you will just keep comboing it and stay in the air forever. I seem to remember in 1 and 2 you came down after you did your 3-hit combo. In this game, you
2
do not
you
come
might
down.
have. I know 2 some of the later transformation forms you floated.
Yeah.
Like you just didn't have to walk anymore, and you swung your keyblades around with psychic powers.
Yes, that would happen, but you didn't. You couldn't just like stay at the height of a random enemy.
No, you're right.
Which I found that there's a lot more verticality to the levels in this game, and it is nice that if you lock onto something that's in the air and then you just like jump and slam on X, you will just swing your keyblade, slowly approaching it for a couple of seconds until you start making contact. Which was my way of like navigating whenever I fell down a especially big hole, was just attack my way up to the top. And then another thing you get in this game now is you can run up walls. Sora's just like, if a wall is glowing, I just can run up the side of it. Did y'all find that to be engaging, entertaining?
They did a good
Infinity.
job with it in Olympus.
Yeah.
But then, like, you get to like we're like, what am I going to do with that in the 100-acre wood?
I mean, you don't do a lot in the 100-acre wood, to
I
be
never-
fair.
I never went to the 100-acre wood. How'd you go to the
What?
100-acre wood?
Oh,
You
man.
go to
You missed a whole bunch of mini games.
First off, all right, I want to bring something up now.
Okay.
Yes.
So in Kingdom Hearts, you
Mhm.
meet Remy the Rat.
You
From
mean Little
Rabbit.
Chef?
That's what I want to bring up. So they call him the whole time they call him Little Chef, and I don't know if that's because Disney has copyright issues, or if it's because he's a rat, he can't tell you his name is Remy.
Correct.
But it drove me nuts the entire time, and I hated every second of it.
I
He
think
cannot
that's it.
communicate his name to you, so they just decided to call him Little Chef.
I was
Because
furious. I'm like, he has a
everyone-
name, and it's Remy.
Everyone wants to call him Ratatouille because his movie is called Ratatouille, but his name is Remy, but also he cannot speak. And also he's not like doing his... It's an odd little thing that they included in there.
Yeah, he's just collecting fruit in the forest
Yeah.
for like whatever reason.
Well,
Yeah.
he's a chef at the local bistro.
Mhm.
I just love that he immediately assumes direct control of Sora.
Yeah. You
and-
become the Ratatouille.
Yeah, you are the meat puppet that Remy is controlling. And I just kept thinking, like, you know how we solve this Xehanort problem? We throw Remy on young Xehanort's head, and then we
But-
puppet this man.
Old Xehanort's bald. He's invincible.
He has the defense mechanism by that point, which is
Yes.
why you have to get young Xehanort, but old Xehanort has already done the thing. We'll get to
No,
it.
we'll get to it. But all I could think was, one, it's amazing that he immediately pilots Sora, the human mech. And then I want there to be a crossover, like Pixar Magic the Gathering, like Secret Lair, that is just Mindslaver, and it's Remy controlling someone.
Give it time. I mean, with the things they've been doing in Magic,
It'll get there. They just
by
did Lord of the
next year.
Rings. They're
Yeah.
doing Lord of the Rings. Like they've been working their way up. I just need Remy the Rat, Mindslaver. Come on, make it happen. So
We'll get there, but there's one other thing that makes me equally furious that I can't wait to discuss.
okay, so Olympus, you defeat the Titans. The notable thing is it's not the Colosseum this time. You are running around Thebes and other, lands around Olympus Coliseum. You eventually go up to Olympus itself. You climb up a mountain. You fight the Titans. They're not very hard. You meet Zeus. So, like, you get more actual characters from Olympus, which I thought, in terms of reusing a location, I think this was one of the better reuses, because they have always confined Olympus to basically one or two spots. And so having a look at the larger world was a nice way to reuse a world.
Yeah, especially too. I mean, they pulled it first too. You know what I mean? So like, it's basically a tutorial. So if you're going to reuse a level for anything, tutorial's a good choice.
For sure. And as soon as you get to Olympus and like, man, once you beat Olympus, the late title card, incredible. You've been playing the game for like 2 to 3 hours. And after you beat Olympus, it's like Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, it starts with Kingdom Hearts like 2.5, right?
2.9, I think.
Oh yeah, there already is a 2.5, isn't there?
There is.
There's a 2.8.
2.9.
There's a 2.5. There's a 2.8, and then I think it starts and it's like 2.9.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you see Kingdom Hearts 3 flash like 3 hours in. Man, this game knows. It knows what it is.
Yeah.
It does. I spent a huge portion of the game too, just trying to pick out who were original voice actors or not.
James
So like
Woods.
they got James Woods. Great get.
Well,
But,
he's available.
Yeah, he's very available. They missed out on a lot of other people though. And it was jarring every time. Like
I
they
think
didn't
we'll
get
to it.
Contracts are hard to negotiate.
Yeah. Steve Buscemi wasn't in there. That one got me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will go over it. I think some of the voice actors are notable for who they got. But yeah, we can go over it. But yeah, like once you get through Olympus, James Woods, he does a good 5 minutes. I don't know if they got the woman who did Meg, but she doesn't talk very much.
Yeah.
She sounded the same. I don't know. They got a good voice actress if it's not the same person. But very few of the Disney characters really have that many lines beyond the plot. Like even when you go back to the towns and stuff, they don't have very much to say. So it's not that big a deal. After you defeat the Olympus level, you get access to the Gummy Phone. What's the Gummy Phone?
It's a phone that you can take pictures with. It's got like a Twitter equivalent.
It's got Instagram.
Yeah, it's Instagram, I guess. What else does it do? It's basically your Jiminy Cricket. What do you call it? The book you had in the first two games. It's cute, I guess. It's basically how you do the there's like a picture collecting thing, collectathon you can do if you want to do it.
What are the Mickey Mouse
QR codes?
Well, they're like lucky spots or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, did you like
That's
that?
a nice nod to the park. Like putting in the teacups like as a combat mechanic, that's dumb. But like putting in lucky spots the same way they do around Disney World, that's cool.
Oh, that's
that a Disney World thing?
Yeah. In Disney World, there are lots of like hidden Mickeys around. Like some are tiny, but others are huge. So if you look at like one of the squares from like the air, it makes a Mickey Mouse silhouette. So yeah, people will like go to Disney World and try to find them all.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's very cool. I liked it just as a mechanic.
Fun.
I didn't realize it was a shout out to an actual Disney World thing. That's cool. And it gets you cool items. That's kind of its thing. Is like the more of those you find, the more kind of above grade items you get. There's I think 9 to like 13 or so of those things per level. And the more you find, you just get items that usually are a little bit above what you could buy or find if you've just been finding all of them. So I think that's really cool. The Instagram on the loading screens is really weird because it's just like, here's Yensid, hashtag Keyblade Master, hashtag.
Those are so funny.
Who is it for? Like, is it just amongst the like
it's
the
for
Keyblade
you
Masters?
Yeah,
it's for us
everyone.
Keyblade Masters.
It's like 14 people.
Yeah.
Riku, hashtag rival, hashtag my friend. Yeah, they're very good. Did you enjoy like those loading screens? Did they tickle you as much as they did me?
I don't think there was any that weren't hilarious. Yes, those were fun. I think it's like what I think someone went and was like, "What are kids into these days?"
Instagram.
Instagram. They were like, "We can put that in there. Yeah, why not? It's just a loading screen thing."
Yeah,
I
it's
don't-
pretty good.
I don't know what they had in loading screens before that. Did they have
I
a
can't
thing
remember.
in
I think
earlier
it was
games?
tutorial stuff.
This
Yeah, I
does
think I
not
remember
teach you
seeing,
how
like,
to play the game.
Hold square to block at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah. So after you defeat Olympus, you go to Twilight Town from Kingdom Hearts 2. You might remember Roxas or some of the other stuff from the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2. But in this case, you're just basically going to the lab where data source. We're not going to talk about this, but it's the lab from Chain of Memories in Kingdom Hearts 2. You go there. Cryptic stuff happens that we're not going to talk about that much because we need to discuss it later. But mostly you just get your phone and the ability to take pictures of stuff, and you meet Remy Ratatouille. And you get the ability to summon. Did y'all use the summons at all?
Almost never.
No. It would have
I-
interfered with me pressing a button to swing the Keyblade. So no.
I couldn't even tell you what the summons are. Let me check. Hold on. List of summons. You could have Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Ariel shows up and does some splashing around. Simba is probably the one I actually use the most now that I think about it. Simba just fucking roars and that blows shit up around you. I forgot that Wreck-It Ralph has a summon.
Yeah, you can summon Wreck-It Ralph. He's the first
Yeah.
summon you
We
get.
should have went to his world. That would have been
Yeah.
cool.
Like a lot.
That was probably a
like-
licensing issue.
Oh yeah. Stitch and Wreck-It Ralph have not appeared in World actually. Oh yeah, and the Dream Eater from a different Kingdom Hearts game that we're not going to talk about. Meow Wow does a like balloon thing and then gets really big and then explodes, and that's its summon.
Yeah, it would be very funny if they had the Wreck-It Ralph level and it's just like, hey, Sonic the Hedgehog, what are you doing here?
That would be a licensing nightmare.
Nightmare.
It's already a This game's already a licensing nightmare. What's one more?
True.
But yeah, like the summons, I didn't even use them. I at no point used them because using my MP for something other than healing myself seemed dumb.
Correct. Most of the time, true. Simba's the only one that I use that I can actually remember intentionally using. So,
So after this level, you can choose between the Toy Story level or the Tangled level. I think you were.
Wait, we're skipping something that annoys me.
Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead. Yes.
Why does both... All right, first Yensid, it's just Disney. Backwards, if anybody didn't know. Let me pull that
correct.
Band-Aid off.
How dare
Already
you?
done. Why is there Yensid and Merlin? They're obviously the same person.
They're from different thing.
One is from the Black Cauldron. One of them is from
No.
Fantasia.
Dumb.
Yen Sid is. No, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
I know. I don't even know. Like, setting aside Kingdom Hearts lore, why in Disney universe is there both Yensid and Merlin? That
That's
should just
why.
be
It's
one
'cause
character.
It's Disney's Fantasia
Yes.
had Yensid, and then the Black Cauldron, which was like a Knights of the
Here's-
Round Table thing, has Merlin in it because it's the
This is the
traditional
Knights of the
Disney.
Round Table thing.
Yeah, it's
Here's-
Disney stealing an old piece of lore and then copywriting it.
I'll tell you the real answer. It's because they had Merlin in Kingdom Hearts 1, and then they were like, we need a like old mentor teacher role, and they were like looking at Merlin, they were like, absolutely fucking not.
Like, no one takes Soul Man seriously.
Exactly. So they were
This
like,
old man, though,
we need
It's
a
identical.
or-
man.
a more refined version of this. And so they made Yen Sid from Fantasia into an actual character, because I'm pretty sure in Fantasia he was just like a feet.
Well,
I don't think we ever
Fantasia,
see him.
there's no dialogue in Fantasia, right?
Yes,
No, it's
that
all
too.
music.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's the wizard that
All
Mickey
right.
apprentices under.
Yeah.
Um,
Fine.
but yeah,
I'm still
I mean, it is the
furious,
same character.
but
One of
fine.
them is like a little old man who's like goofy, and the
Yeah.
other one is large and authoritative.
Exactly.
And is like, hey, we didn't say after you defeat Olympus, you get new clothes,
Mhm.
and this is the Kingdom Hearts plaid era.
Yeah. You don't like? Do you like the plaid? Do you not like the
Better than
plaid?
the yellow.
I just think it's very funny that like it's basically the same outfits that there were in previous games, except where it would have been solid red or solid black, it's now plaid,
Mhm.
like white and red plaid or black and red plaid. It's cool. I honestly don't mind it. It's an interesting look. It's very high fashion, which I
Mhm.
feel like Kingdom Hearts at this point, the outfits started in like a more Disney place with occasionally some outfits that were a little bit more Final Fantasy adjacent. But this game, they really went high fashion with it. Like the outfits
Mhm.
are straight out of like what you might be able to find in a fashion district in Tokyo now, which I think is cool. All things considered, it's a little bit weird, but I don't mind it. Did you feel the same?
I mean, I like it. It grows on you. It's not the
It's-
big red pants that were in the first one.
God. Still got those
and-
stupid giant shoes, though.
Gigantic yellow shoes that he's slowly growing into.
Yeah, I do miss that. Like in Kingdom Hearts 2, his clothes, he's outgrown his clothes, and now in Kingdom Hearts 3, he's growing into his shoes. It's weird.
Yeah, it's tradition at this point that they're just like, oh, Sora, new outfit.
New fit.
Yeah. I want to go and watch the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 and see what his shoe situation is
They're
like.
regular human feet.
Are they?
Are they really?
Yeah, it's
Huh.
unnerving.
Hmm.
He's got normal human feet. I hate it.
Well, I guess it had to happen sometime. It's the loss of innocence.
Yep. So you beat Twilight Town. Stuff happens there that's lore related that I don't think we need to go over. Then you decide between Tangled Land or Toy Story World. I went Tangled first because that's what the like recommended path is.
Yep.
Based on battle level. Tangled follows very close to the movie. You basically
It's
find
basically-
Rapunzel.
It's beat for beat, almost.
Yeah. So this is in Kingdom Hearts. There are variations of certain formats. Some worlds are
Shot for shots.
shot for shot, and that's what Tangled is. It's basically we edited Sora in the background of the events of the movie, and
The
it's
one
fine.
difference is you edit Sora into it. The evil stepmother is like possessed with Organization 13 magic for a second. You get to dance with Rapunzel, which
Yep.
is, I
Yes.
guess, something. You get to like play around with Rapunzel in water. She like has her hair is like a grappling hook, so you can like Tarzan swing. She fights with you a little bit, which is kind of fun. But then the big twist is that at the end, when Rapunzel's hair gets cut and her evil stepmother turns to dust, her robe, the like robe that's empty, that gets like that falls out of the tower, gets blasted with Kingdom Hearts magic, and she turns into a Heartless, and then you kill her. So I guess canonically you killed Rapunzel's mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that from Tangled, right?
Yeah,
It checks out.
canonically.
Yeah.
Sora, Donald, and Goofy killed Rapunzel's mom, or evil stepmom.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big world. The Tangled like town proper is pretty big and fun to explore. Like you can really see the difference of the scope that they can do in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Also, I know the answer of why they kept the songs in Frozen World,
Mm-hmm.
but Tangled has some good songs. Like when they go to the bar and they sing about like following your dreams, that's a great song. I wanted that
Didn't
one.
have time. Didn't have time. Not enough
No,
time.
They kept Let It Go for whatever godforsaken reason.
We could go into
We'll go
it.
over it. We'll go over it. We
It's
need to get
about
there.
marketing.
So
About
yeah,
recognizability.
they got rid of all that stuff for Tangled World. Then Toy Story World.
Toy Box is crazy.
Toy Box is great. So Pete, did you get the meta part of Toy Box when it starts?
The meta part?
Yeah.
Oh God.
So the beginning of Toy Box is a cutscene for a video game in Toy Story in universe. That's a JRPG.
Right.
Did you notice what it looks a ton like? You might not.
I just assumed it was a Final Fantasy game I never played.
Yeah,
It's
none of us have. Em, do you want to explain?
Oh God. See, this is like I gotta go to the wiki for this.
Okay, so the trailer, it looks eerily like Final Fantasy Versus 13, which was it was the game that eventually became Final Fantasy 15 after it was in development hell for a decade.
Mora really wanted to make this game, and then it got turned into Final Fantasy 15, which is not at all like what this is, except the main character kind of looks like the kid that's in this.
Yep.
And he was kind of salty about it, and he was like, what if I just put it in here, and then you have to make it because it'll be important lore. So
And I'm sure everybody was like, oh no, Kingdom Hearts lore, like we must maintain fidelity.
You'd be surprised. The fidelity across all of these games is remarkable. So there was that, and then it comes back later. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, so
eventually.
That's great that they start off Toy Box with a trailer for a game that looks eerily like this game that never ever existed.
Yep.
And I enjoyed that a whole lot. Then you're just in Andy's room. Buzz, Pete, did you see who voices Woody?
No, I was super curious about it. It's not. They didn't get Tom Hanks, did they?
No.
Yeah. Who was it?
Who voices Woody?
Is it John Hanks or
Jim
Tim
Hanks?
Jim
Jim
Hanks.
Hanks?
Tom Hanks's brother.
Is he been an actor?
He's a voice actor.
He's a actor and filmmaker.
Okay. Look, Jim, get that bag, dog. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
Basically, anytime you want someone to do a Tom Hanks voice, but you can't afford Tom Hanks, you get Jim Hanks. And he's available. So that I loved. I loved that a lot. But yeah,
Interesting enough, he is also Tom Hanks's body double in Forrest Gump. So there you go.
Okay.
Checks
Sure.
out. So you start out in the room, and half of the toys are missing, and the toys are wary that something might happen to the rest of them. And you have to go to not Alt's Toy Barn. You have to go to a different toy store. Which, do you remember what the name of the toy? I don't remember the name of the toy store.
It has a silly little name.
It's not Alt's Toy
Galaxy
Barn.
Toys. Galaxy Toys.
Right. And there's just a ton of bespoke, like, fake toys in there that I really enjoyed. Like, there's fake Barbie, there's fake, I shouldn't say fake, there's, imitation Barbie, there's, like, action figures that they've designed. It's kind of I think this was probably my favorite level from a design perspective, because it's a wheel and spoke level. So instead of everything being linear like it was in Tangled World and like Olympus, this one, because you're in this toy store, there's a first floor, a second floor, and a third floor, and each of the floors has different toys, because they're different departments. So if you want to go back to the other levels, you just jump down the floors because there's no fall damage. And if you want to go back up, there's a central like hub that you can take to grind rail your way up to higher floors. So I thought this was the best designed level of the like traditional Kingdom Hearts walk around, attack things levels. There are some that go a little bit more outlandish, but I thought this was pretty well done.
It gave a decent combat break too, because you get to pilot mechs.
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Right. Yeah.
But then, so like there's an interesting moral dilemma here, which I think is one of the more interesting things. Like Kingdom Hearts isn't a terribly morally interesting game, but there's a question of destroying toys.
Mm-hmm.
Because like these toys are, I mean, it's Toy Story World. These toys are basically sentient, but they've been taken over by Heartless. And like Buzz has like a moment of sort of like, should we really be doing this? Ultimately, he decides, no, this is fine. We're still the good guys. But it's an interesting question they at least raised.
Yeah, like Olympus World, you're kind of asking the question, can Sora learn how to be a hero again? And so he visits Hercules to do it. In Tangled World, there's not really any moral questions because you're just following the plot. I guess there's a little bit of like learning to love yourself for who you are, because the main male protagonist of Tangled is kind of lying
Flynn
about who he is. Yeah, Flynn Rider and his actual name. But in this one, it's like toys can have hearts, and if they have hearts, that means they're sentient. And if they're being taken over by Heartless and we're killing them, is that okay? And then there's a bunch of nonsense about like half of the toys are in a real version of Toy Story World and half of them are in a fake.
This is what I
Toy
wanted to
Story
talk
World.
about. Also,
Which-
all the people are over there too.
Yes. So Buzz, Woody, Rex, and Ham and the Army Men are in a fake Toy Story universe? Am I right?
Yes.
There's like a split version of the world that you are in, and then all the people, half of the toys are in a different universe. Does not explain how this happened. Also, young Xehanort is telling you this.
Yes. And he was like, we split you off to see if toys can have hearts, then inanimate objects can have hearts. And if inanimate objects can have hearts, ... profit?
He says he is testing the strength of their bonds, because if you have hearts, then somehow you're gonna reach through dimensions and help your friends or whatever. Unclear. And also, you don't unite the worlds
No, they just
until the
leave.
end. Yeah. It says upon the Heartless's defeat, Sora, Donald, and Goofy apologize for not being able to help Woody, Buzz, and the others rejoin their friends, and then you just fuck off.
Yeah. And every level has a member of Organization 13 show up, speak some Yang, and then vanish.
Yeah. This one is the one that gets memed on all the time, because there's like the moment where young Xehanort is like talking shit, and then Woody is like, hold on, Sora, I got this. And
Yes.
he gives like a big speech about like, you don't have friends. And it's the most Kingdom Hearts thing you've ever seen.
That's great. I love Buzz getting possessed by darkness. It's like, Buzz, no!
Yeah, and suddenly in this universe too, Buzz's laser is real.
Yeah.
That's like the only changes.
Woody's like, hey, Buzz, ever since your laser started being real, I thought
Like,
I
what?
began to suspect stuff was weird. Yeah, so that happens. Buzz Lightyear gets possessed. You free him by... He just gets freed. You don't even fight him. And then you fight I forget what giant toy you fight at the end.
It's like a ball-jointed puppet. Is that the ending of this one?
I think so. Oh, one thing about this level. This is before the DLC added some Final Fantasy characters. This is the only part of the game that acknowledges the existence of Final Fantasy characters other than a Moogle.
Correct.
There are toys in one of the sections for the summons from Final Fantasy Dissidia, the fighting game that they were promoting around the same time as this. So there you go. That if you wanted Final Fantasy content, that's all you get. So after this level, you then get a choice between which two levels was it? Oh boy, I'm trying to remember based on the weapons. Monsters Inc. World.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and
Frozen World,
Frozen.
right?
Yes.
So Monsters Inc. World, you go there. It's after the events of Monsters Inc., but I guess Monsters University is a prequel, so
It is.
it's after the events of Monsters Inc. Sully and Mike Wazowski are playing with Boo. They are running on laugh power, but one of the members of Organization 13 remembers that they used to run on screams, and so this place is a source of powerful negative emotion that he wants to explore. You, in this world, fight not Heartless and not Nobodies, but instead, what are they?
This is the Unversed, which are the enemies from Birth by Sleep. Do they explain why
Nope.
they are
Nope.
here? Okay.
Nope.
I was confused the entire time.
If you have not played Birth by Sleep, you don't know why they're here.
I was like, why are those heartless shapes so weird?
Yeah. They're unclear.
My understanding, and we won't go into the origins, the Organization 13 member, Vanitas, who is in this level,
He is from Birth by Sleep.
he's from
so
Birth by
he's-
Sleep, and he can make them. That's my
Yes.
understanding. I don't know the lore reasons why or anything else, but it's because it's his level.
Yep. That's it.
And you also become furries in this
Yes.
level.
Sora gets like a
Cattail.
yeah, he's a little monster boy with no pants. And Donald has one eye, and Goofy is a green version of himself.
With one big eye, one small eye.
Yes. And it's cute.
Yeah, you're basically running through the factory from Monsters Inc. Just kind of putting it back, like it's burning down, and you are trying to get to the end so that you can send Boo back home.
Mhm.
The invisible monster, Randall, the
Not
chameleon
voiced by
monster.
Steve Buscemi, by the way.
This is a shame. He's up to no good. He wants to have some sort of monster so he can take over the Monsters Inc. so that he can get them back to screams, a reliable source of energy, unlike laughter, which is kind of funny that he's like a coal baron or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to return to tradition, to a power source that's saved us for generations. Screams!
Also, like, what happens to him at the end of Monsters Inc.? Like,
he
I
gets
thought he got like
thrown
thrown
into
into Antarctica or something.
They
Yeah.
put him through a door, and then they put
And
his
then the-
door through a wood chipper.
Right.
Yes.
But he's just back.
Yeah, that Vanitas, the evil Organization 13 member, put the door back together and then let him out.
Just this big arts and crafts project for Vanitas.
He was just sitting there on the floor putting wood pieces in order.
I need Randall. It's the only way I can get this factory back on screams. Yeah, that's great. I love that at the end, when you beat the level, you put Randall back through the door,
Yep.
and then Sora seals it with his keyblade. He's like, I got a way to make sure this door never opens again.
That's permanent.
So they lock it with the keyblade, and then they put that door through another door, and then that door through another door, and then that door through another door, and then they throw the fourth layer of door through a wood chipper.
That was very funny. I like that.
Yeah, that was a good gag.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty unremarkable level, purely linear. It's got a lot of grind rails, which if you like Sonic the Hedgehog, I guess maybe you might enjoy the grind rail levels. But I didn't find them particularly compelling. Pete, did you have any difference of opinion?
Eh.
No, I mean,
This level kind of
it's
sucked.
fine. I was sick of staring at furry Sora anyway.
Yeah, they allowed the Kingdom Hearts people to play around with this world a little bit more than I expected, but it's ultimately they turned it into a very boring level. Then you get Frozen, which is maybe the most hands-off level I've ever seen in one of these games.
I really want to talk about this level.
Please do.
This
take it away.
level. Yeah. Imagine Frozen is happening. So you're in Arendelle. It is winter. And Frozen is happening over there, like way off in the distance. And every once in a while, you will run into like Elsa or Anna, and they'll say some stuff, and then they'll go off and do their own thing. You spend a lot of time like there's some there's a whole ice palace situation that you go through, like pretty early on in the level. You
see the ice palace, but you don't get to go in it.
No, I'm talking about the maze.
Oh,
thing
the
that
ice
gets
labyrinth.
Yeah,
Famous.
because you can see there is an ice palace, and then Larxene from Organization 13 shows up, and she's like, "Nope, can't go there yet," and shoves you into this maze. Then you go through the maze, and then you get to the mountaintop, and then you're like, "Wow, Elsa's here," and she's singing Frozen songs.
And then you get knocked off the mountain, so you can't go into the ice palace.
Yes.
And then you meet Sven and Anna and Olaf.
You hang out with Olaf for a while. I think you put him back together.
Yeah, that's the one time you get to interact
two.
with them. You
Yes.
get to put him back together, and there's some good gags where you get his wrong middle section. So you get, like, dirty Olaf, who thinks he's got a suntan, or, like, oblong Olaf, who falls apart. So, like, that's kind of goofy. But, yeah, like, you meet them, and then you get separated from Sven and Anna and Kristoff. Then you try to show up at the end of the thing, like, the end of the confrontation.
Let's go to the ice palace again at this point, right?
Right, and then you meet Marshmallow, the abominable snowman. He joins you because
it turns out he's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fight him once and then he joins you. But you're going to go to the end of the movie, and the evil Hans is going to, like, Anna gets turned to ice and all that stuff, and the end of the movie's happening. And you're going to try and save them. But again, Larxene shows up and traps you in a bubble. And you have to watch the end of the movie happen, and then Hans has a Heartless fall off of him, and you have to fight the Heartless in a sub-dimension?
Yep.
And then you show up and the movie's over. And you just fuck off.
Yeah. You did what you came to do, I guess, which was watch Frozen from afar.
The one thing I like is Larxene, every time she stops you from interacting with the film, and I know the reason you can't interact with the film is purely because they don't want you messing with the most popular Disney product of the last 20 or so years.
Correct.
And they don't want you messing anything up. They didn't trust Square to do anything cool with that story, which is fair. But I enjoyed that they, like, the explanation is always, hey, Sora, what if you just let these people handle their own problems for once?
Why are you messing with shit?
Yeah, Larxene telling Sora, like, hey, let them handle it, I thought was an interesting, like, dichotomy from every other Kingdom Hearts level, where, you know, you're basically, it's fan fiction, right? It's an insert fan fiction. Like, here's my character who everyone wants to hang out with.
But it's bad insert fan fiction because you're not even inserting it. You're, like, tacking it on.
Yeah. But in this one, Larxene's like, hey, these people are strong and capable of handling their own problems. Why don't you just let them?
Also, what are you going to contribute to Elsa? Like, she's got kick-ass ice powers. You just saw her build a giant palace. She basically almost murdered you with ice. Like, you're not jumping in this fight with your big-ass key.
There's also some lore implications here where it's like Anna and Elsa are going to be the new princesses of heart from the first game, and we don't address that ever again.
Yeah, it's the tango. It's Rapunzel, Anna, and Elsa, and then they don't actually have enough princesses, I don't think. So it's just like a plot line that's completely dropped because they just have to have an Organization 13 person show up in every level. So they ostensibly they have to have a reason to be there, I guess. So after this level, you get to choose between Pirates of the Caribbean World and San Francisco, I believe, are the next two.
Yes.
How did you like when it became Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
I like the Caribbean World, actually. It was a completely different game. The art style completely changed. You run around hunting crabs. That's all I remember from that level.
Yeah, so the white crabs, the original movie did not have a crab golem. Like, the game did.
Yeah,
I don't think.
No.
pretty sure.
Yeah, no, it
Also-
definitely didn't.
Also, this is following after what is it? Pirates of the Caribbean
This is at World's End. Is
at
the
World's
movie.
End. Yes. So Davy
Yeah,
Jones is
Number
here.
3. Yes.
Yeah.
They
Uh,
skipped the
Calypso.
second one.
Yes. You
What
know
even
that
was the plot? Oh, the plot with
I
the
don't
second one was
remember.
just to set up the third one.
pretty much.
Yes.
Um,
But Sora's nonplussed by all of the extra pirates who are in the third one. And like Barbossa's on the good side, and he's like, okay, Barbossa.
I found myself very distracted the entire time by how not like Keira Knightley, the Keira Knightley pirate looked.
Yeah.
I was
She
also
did not
like,
look right.
not. This isn't their fault, obviously, but like the level hits a lot different now than it did 3 years ago.
Because of
It's
Johnny
just
Depp.
like- Yeah, Johnny Depp swashbuckling around
uh-huh.
again.
Also,
not Square's
definitely not Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
as the voice of
also
Jack
true.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
Someone
Johnny,
completely different.
Johnny Depp as a lovable alcoholic is not as fun in current contexts.
Didn't age well,
No.
Did not.
shall we say?
But they've really let them screw around with the story in this one. Like,
Oh yeah.
the crabs from the Davy Jones's locker, they have spread throughout the world. And at one point, Captain Jack Sparrow is revealed to be a crab golem who's just like made of crabs. And then the crabs fall apart because the real Captain Jack Sparrow is in the plot of the movie, and you've been off doing side stuff. Like you find a ship that's the Leviathan, and it's got magical powers. And then that ship at the end turns into crabs, which is kind of cool. Like it's interesting. They let you play around. Like Calypso, the goddess of the sea, promises Sora dominion over the sea. Like she tempts him, which is kind of cool. And then it's Assassin's Creed Black Flag basically. You're boating around, attacking heartless ships, and collecting crabs and leveling up your ship and stuff. It's interesting. It's not that big of a world, but it's just such a huge gameplay departure that I found it pretty staggering for this game that up until now was just a lot of the same linear levels.
Yeah, it's basically what like the gummy ships in 2 should have been. Like, I don't know if other people like the gummy ships more than I do. I hated them, so I just skipped all of those sections. But they took that and they were like, we'll just make it one self-contained level, enjoy this for a little bit, and then peace out. And that's what the gummy ship should have been.
Yep. Yeah, we didn't get into the gummy ships. I guess we can now because there's not much plot here. Like you defeat Davy Jones. They did have a nice there's a heart in a box thing, and they're like, the heart can go outside of the body. And then when they look inside the box, it's like, oh, it's a human heart. That's not interesting.
That's less fun.
It's just a man's heart beating on its own. That's not.
We've spent so much time thinking about like metaphorical hearts, we forgot that there is one in your chest.
And if you take it out and stab it, that kills a person.
And that's exactly what they do.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
In a game where people lose their hearts and regain their hearts all the time, seeing a man get his heart stabbed and then just die a mortal death is kind of refreshing.
Yeah, it's crazy when like Davy Jones, Squid Man, is the most like reasonable portrayal of hearts.
Yeah, because people die in this game later on. We'll talk about it. People die and come back from death a bunch.
Constantly.
And in this case, if you stab a heart with a knife, it does kill them.
Yeah.
It's off camera. But yeah, then I guess we can talk about. We haven't talked about the gummy ships at all. It's like in previous game. Well, the gummy ship building is like in previous games. They actually give you full control. You're not just on rails in the gummy ship segments for the most part. There are sections that are like the old gummy ship levels if you run into Heartless and get into encounters. But the wider gummy ship levels play exactly like... I mean, they play like a regular flight sim sort of game for the most part. What did you think of the new and improved gummy ship?
I mean, they're better than 2, but
Yeah.
it wasn't exactly a high bar to clear. I'd still maintain that nobody is playing Kingdom Hearts for the
For
gummy
the
ships.
gummy ship. Correct. I actually like the gummy ships in this game a lot more than in 1 and 2. But also not the most memorable experience in the game. Just like flying around. It was fine.
Yeah, that's definitely my take as well. Is that it was better than in previous games, but still didn't need to exist.
Mhm.
Okay, so San Francisco, it's Big Hero 6 level. They let them play around with this one pretty good. It's kind of an
Yeah,
open
they
world level.
branched.
Yeah.
They branched on this one a lot. There was like a weird. They added an entirely new plot point too, which I found very strange.
Mhm.
In that, basically, what happens in this one is the original BMO, no, not
Baymax.
BMO, Betamax, Baymax,
Baymax.
BMO's Adventure Time. right?
Yes.
Yes.
So the original Baymax basically was destroyed or kidnapped somehow. So my guy built a second one, and he was just like,
Yes.
"We'll replace the first." And nobody really like talks about it until the first one shows up. So I mean, this was a strange plot point and one that never happens in the movie, which was
I thought in the
cool to see.
movie, original Baymax gets sealed, like they open up a rift or something, and they seal original Baymax like behind it,
Rift.
and then they build a new one.
What?
How would they open a rift?
The nanobots end up like dumped into some like lab or something. I thought.
Were the nanobots in the Big Hero 6 movie?
Yes.
The whole
It's
thing
been
is that
this came out in 2014, so it's been almost 10 years since this movie came out at this
What
point.
happens in Big Hero 6?
I don't
my
remember.
my memory, and this is what I've got, is Hero of Big Hero 6, the main character. He is an inventor and he invents nanobots. That's his invention for like a science fair thing.
With you so far.
And then they get like a government contractor, an evil government contractor is like, hey, we're going to give you a scholarship or whatever. I just need to see these nanobots. And then he steals the technology to do evil stuff. And they're like the villains that the Big Hero 6 people are fighting the whole time. And then in this game, like at the end, they're fighting the nanobots on like some remote island or something, or like a military facility. And Baymax basically is in the facility as it explodes to destroy the nanobots. That was my memory of it. And Hero's like, I can't leave you. You're the only thing I have left of my brother. And Baymax is like, you need to move on, basically. That's my memory of it.
I mean, you might be right.
Yeah.
So that's why he's like, Baymax, but you were
Oh, okay.
dead.
Yeah.
Basically.
So basically, what happens is they like find his chip afterwards.
Yes, they have the
Yeah,
chip.
you're right.
And so
You're right.
the chip lives on.
Yeah, I totally forgot all of this.
Yeah.
But they do in this game give him a second like they retcon it, and Hero ends up with 2 Baymaxes
Uh-huh.
at the end. Which is that is what was to me kind of astounding. They also have all of the members of Big Hero 6 like study the ways of Sora, Donald, and Goofy,
Mhm.
and improve their abilities based on watching Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Because they're like, this Sora kid's got crazy powers. Let's emulate them.
Mhm.
I don't know why. I guess I do know why, because like there's all that weird digital Kingdom Hearts stuff going on. But like Baymax gets a heart too, but his heart is like a computer chip. But it's a real
digital
heart.
Yeah. It's a data heart. And
We'll save that for the lore discussion, but I found that very
Yes.
confusing as well.
I found
Sometimes
it
hearts
interesting.
are not hearts. Sometimes hearts are hearts in a box and they're an actual heart, and sometimes hearts are a computer chip that's put into a robot.
And sometimes hearts are the emotional connection between a boy and his toys.
Correct.
Yes.
So you got it.
And sometimes they're moons.
Mm-hmm.
But the most
Kingdom
important
Hearts.
thing is that hearts are the friends we made along the way.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the big thing. Is I like that they retconned a second Baymax in. I like that they tried to make the data heart thing a thing in Big Hero 6 lore, because it's a thing in Kingdom Hearts lore. And the level was kind of an open world level, which was kind of cool, I thought. It was huge compared to most Kingdom Hearts levels. So that's interesting.
There's a lot
is
of flight too. I mean, you actually got to like
Yeah.
navigate the open world, which was cool.
Yeah, and that's the final level before you go into big lore land. So, what do we? I think we should call it there. What did we think of the gameplay and the Disney stuff?
I
Not a lot
find
of it.
I find myself with one question at the end of every Kingdom Hearts game I've played since Kingdom Hearts 1. And the question is always, is Kingdom Hearts good? And I still don't have an answer.
We've played so many of these games, though. You must like it, right?
I mean, do I? Like, am I so nostalgia poisoned that I can't even decide anymore?
I mean,
I think we'll find out.
I don't know.
this is like you made me watch all of the Star Wars movies, and I'm not even a fan of Star Wars. It's like, well, of course you're a fan of Star Wars. You've seen all the movies. Maybe
It's
it's
like,
Harry Potter.
I've played 180 hours of Kingdom Hearts. Of course.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's good. I will say this, of all of the Kingdom Hearts games, is the one that most plays around with its format in a way that I think they blend the lore with the characters and the locations in a better way than they have in previous games where you're just kind of like hanging out watching story happen. Like in this one, you actually get like, hey, here's a data heart. Hey, here's a heart that's in an inanimate object. Like, is that still a being? Like, you get that. You get, this woman is controlled by Organization 13 and becomes a Heartless. Like, you do get more interesting implications of Kingdom Hearts lore meeting with the plots of these movies, which I appreciated. I wish they did this more in earlier games. I wish they did this more, period. It would also be nice if they did this with the Final Fantasy content and hybridized stuff a little bit more than just Olympus Coliseum. But it seemed to me like it was moving the game in the right direction, in a more interesting direction, even as someone who's not super into the lore. Like, even as just Disney plot tourism, I found it more compelling. It didn't feel quite as much like two completely separate plots that were happening, barely touching.
Yeah. It only took them 19 games to get to a point where they're like, maybe we can actually explore this weird.
That's how many there are?
Seems like a lot.
Oh.
I'm not going to tell you how many games there are, but there's more than you think.
More than you want.
Yeah. As far as like the Disney worlds go, this feels like a much more curated mix, as opposed to in Kingdom Hearts 2 there were like 13 worlds for the main story and then 2 optional worlds, which were 100 Acre Wood and Atlantica. So there's 6 in this one? 7?
Yeah, 7 if you count 100
7,
Acre
I
Wood.
think.
Yeah.
8, I think, if you count 100 Acre Wood.
Oh, 8
It's
was
Olympus, Frozen, Monsters Inc.,
Toy
Pirates of the
Story.
Caribbean, San Francisco, 100 Acre Wood,
Mm-hmm.
Toy Story, Tangled.
Yep.
Yeah, 8.
Yeah. So
what happens in 100 Acre Wood? I didn't ever go. Like, what happens there?
It's Snood. You play Snood.
Do you know what
I mean,
Snood is?
It's a game?
It is a game.
So like, those games where you like shoot things to like try to make like batches of 3,
Yeah.
and then like they disappear.
Yeah.
So
That's Snood, and that's what you do in 100 Acre Woods.
Okay.
you didn't have
It's
to
fine.
go there. It's all
Yeah,
right.
It's okay.
Does any plot stuff happen at all?
Pooh forgets you,
Again?
and then remembers you, and then Sora's like, "We'll always be friends," and that's it.
But if you do this again, I swear to God.
I'm fucking kill you, Phil. There's no real plot. Everything's pretty chill. There's a new character in 100 Acre Woods. It's a tiny elephant. I don't know when that
the one
became.
Oh, a
the
Heffalump?
Heffalump from the Heffalump movie.
Okay.
Yeah. there,
Sure.
there was a Winnie the Pooh movie that was like something about heffalumps, and
I think it's just called the Heffalump movie.
yeah, and they added a new character to the cast, and it's in this game for people who know about that movie.
Is
And
What,
everyone
uh,
else could be
Is there a
confused.
Keyblade from 100 Acre Woods?
No,
No,
I don't think so. What
I remember there
mental
was like a
disorder
honey
does the
pot.
heffalump represent?
um,
There might be. I shouldn't say no. I don't know.
it could be from a different game. I don't know if it was from this one, but
Whose Heffalump movie is the name of it?
there you go. Yeah, there is no Keyblade from this one, but in previous games there was a Keyblade that had like a pot of honey on the end of a stick.
Right. Yeah. So that's the gameplay and Disney part. Tomorrow we'll talk about, or next time, not tomorrow. Next pod we'll discuss the larger lore implications of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Strap in.
I played the Remind DLC because you sickos told me I had to.
Because you have to, because otherwise there's no end of the story.
Oh yeah, that's what I was worried about.
Listen,
20 years in,
about it.
we're finally going to get closure.
Finally.
don't you want to know what happens to Kyrie when she gets fucking ganked at
Murked?
the end of it?
Just
I
get
don't know.
stabbed.
Yeah.
No, I actually didn't care because the game didn't.
I cared when I first played this game without the. All right, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time.
There's going to be 5 episodes of lore discussion, so look forward to that.
No, we're not reproducing Waypoints
We're a Kingdom Hearts
lore
podcast
reasons.
now.
We're not reproducing Waypoints lore reasons podcast. We can't do it. If you want that, they talked about the lore of every Kingdom Hearts game, so we don't have to. All right. Well, thank you, Pete.
Yes, I'm already pre-exhausted for the lore, but I'm excited to finally understand what I played.
Excellent. Thank you, M.
I'm ready to go. Let's record it right now.
And thank you, listeners. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at Deep Listens Pod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Until next time, peace.